and metaphors.
But shouldn't that help the Democrats? Because aren't they the more empathetic party? And shouldn't that hurt the Republicans since they run it basically on bootstraps?
It should if the Democrats understood that they have a false view of reason. But they're stuck on interest group politics. Interest group politics assumes that people vote rationally on the and in the old notion of reason on the basis of their interests. And so what they keep finding are these interest groups that have been ill-served by the market or by government, and then they give a program for this interest group, the next interest group, another interest group, and they don't add up to anything. They don't add up to a movement. They don't add up to a general view of what progressive thought is. But progressive thought starts with empathy, caring about people, and responsibility, which is acting on that care responsibly and effectively.
So what would you do differently if you were in charge, Professor Lakoff? How would you set the Democrats up for victory in the long term, to be able to reach the American people in an effective way?
Well, one of the things they need to do is do the reverse of what they're doing now in building think tanks. The conservatives did something right. They started their think tanks with the idea of conservatism in general and then applied it throughout. When the liberals have come along and tried to build think tanks, they get a bunch of experts about issue-by-issue experts, and then they don't come together with a general idea. They also don't have a notion of what is called cognitive policy. The Republicans have a cognitive policy. They have a set of ideas with a strategy for getting those ideas out in public, and they have institutions for doing that. They've built all these institutions that I've mentioned. The Democrats don't have a cognitive strategy. They don't have a strategy for changing people's minds and for getting their ideas out there in public, and they haven't built the institutions for doing that. They understand policy in material terms. What are the nuts and bolts of this policy? But they don't understand that every policy has a moral idea behind it. What makes it right? And they don't understand that people out in public have to have those same moral ideas in order to know that the policy is intuitively right. So without a cognitive strategy, they can put out all the policies they want. Some will happen to go along with what people believe, and a lot of them won't.
And how this breaks down in the real world, by the way, is or what you see on TV, for example, I should say, is that the Republicans will come up with a marketing term right away for the issue, whether it's tax relief or cut and run or free trade, and many of the terms you talk about in the book, and the Democrats will simply cede the ground. They'll say, okay, apparently it's not an escalation of the war, it's a surge.
Right.
And then once they cede that ground, they've already lost the battle.
As soon as they use the word surge, it's over.
It's over.
It's over. And
it's amazing they don't get that. I'm blown away by the fact that they don't get that.
That's what the book is about, because if they believe in Enlightenment reason, then what are words about? Words just fit the world as it is, because they assume reason just fits the world as it is. Concepts fit the world as it is, so the words name concepts, and the words are neutral. But they're not. The words that Republicans use are fitting their frames, and each frame is part of a bigger system, and they've gotten their system out there. Their big ideas about government, about national security, about taxation and the market, their ideas are out there. They have a system, and once the system is there, they can have nice little phrases that fit the system. Because the Democrats don't have their system of ideas in place, they can't have nice little phrases because there's nothing for them to fit.
All right, the book is amazing. It's called The Political Mind. It's in the Young Turks Library. You can check it out there. Before we leave you, we have about a minute left. Professor Lakoff, I do want to ask a fun personal question. There are two enormously famous linguists. You're one of them. The other one is, of course, Noam Chomsky. Do you guys ever get together and have a beer?
He was my teacher back in 1962. Around 1963, I discovered a flaw in his theory, and I've worked on that and shown that the theory doesn't work. As of 1968, we haven't been talking for a while.
It's been a while. It's been, what now, 40 years. Can you guys go out for a beer?
I doubt that Noam is going to give me a call, or if I called him that he would.
Why not? Can you? How about you promise us here on the Young Turks that you'll give him a call?
Well, it's not so easy, and not only that, I'm not sure whether he drinks beer these days, but it's not so easy. It turns out that he has a philosophy that is ironclad, and you can't break through it. Mm-hmm. And I've tried doing it. I tried doing it for many years. I know his thought very, very well, his linguistic thought.
How about you guys don't talk about linguistics? You talk about your kids, your grandkids, whatever.
That, in fact, we can do. I mean, we've occasionally run into each other at conferences. He's come to Berkeley, and in fact, that's exactly what we do. His daughter was a student in a department next door to mine. I know his daughter. We talk about we talk about his grandchildren. That's basically what we actually do.
Okay, well, it's fair enough. All right, Professor George Lakoff, thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it.